Good evening and welcome to the channel. If you're new to this channel, then please consider hitting that subscribe button. I'm down here at Churston Golf Club at their practice ground, and I've got a little bit of an issue in regards to golf equipment. Not the type of equipment I'm using, but the makeup of the set that I'm currently gaming. For those regular viewers of the channel will know that I'm currently using a set of Cobra Forge Tech 1-length irons, 4-to pitching wedge. Well, the issue I've got is between the most lofty club, the pitching wedge, and my first specialist wedge, which is a sub 70 50 degree wedge. I seem to have a massive gap in distances. So I'm going to get some numbers today just to see whether that gap is confirmed via the numbers, and then look further up in the bag where I could potentially drop one of my longer irons to make room for another wedge, maybe a 46, 47 degree wedge. So firstly, I'm going to hit both the 50 degree wedge and the pitching wedge just to see whether there is actually a gap and whether this is a problem or not. I'm using the Flight Scope Mevo to get some numbers. So I've just hit 7 or 8 shots with the gap wedge, picked the 5 best shots. It's important not to include every shot because there was a couple of miss hits. There was one that I think the Mevo got slightly wrong with the actual yardage and it flew sort of 15 yards further than I'd expect. But looking at the numbers, and I will work the average out when I get home, I'm hitting this gap wedge about 125 yards through the air, which is what I would really expect. I was thinking it was somewhere between sort of low 120s and up to sort of 130, maybe even pushing on 135 if I went right at it. So we've got the yardage as the numbers for this particular club. Now let's use the pitching wedge 1 length at the set of clubs that I use and get some numbers. I've hit this wedge. I was thinking it was going a little bit further than what it actually is, but still we're pushing up there over 150 yards. Even the ones that haven't quite struck have reached 150 yards carry. So even the worst struck one of these against the best struck gap wedge, I've sort of got 20 yards difference in distance. And at some cases, if it's a good one of these against a bad one of my gap wedges, it's looking at like 30-yard gap, which is way too much in a set of clubs. I now need to hit both the 4 and the 5 iron to get some numbers to see whether potentially I could drop one of those 2 clubs, or whether I have to remove, say, my mini driver out the bag or something further up to sort of accommodate this extra wedge that I feel that I need if I keep this makeup of set the same. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put both tables up, 5 shots with a 4 iron, 5 shots with a 5 iron, but I'm not going to tell you which one's which. And you can clearly see that the numbers are too sort of mumbled up and too matched in, that the 4 and 5 iron, I mean, I can't even tell by the numbers which one's which, and I don't think you'll be able to at home as well. So I can now know that the 4 and 5 iron carry distance is very similar. The flight obviously of the 4 iron is fractionally lower and almost bordering on well, it is too low of a flight on the golf course, I know that, and that will be particularly noticeable when the ball's not running in sort of the winter months when the ground gets wetter. So I know that now I can get rid of this 4 iron and put a new wedge in the bag. So the next video I will try out some different wedges, some different lofts on the wedges, some different makes, and try and get a club that will go in between my gap wedge and my most lofted wedge from my full set. So maybe 47, 46 or 48 degree wedge that can go in there just to fill that gap, and just see if we can get a club which maybe goes sort of 135 to 140, which would perfectly marry in with the rest of my set. I think this video sort of displays an important point, that you should always regularly get gap fitted. Do it once or twice a season, maybe at the start of the season or the end of the season. And if you do notice on the golf course that clubs are going similar distance, or maybe you're not using your 3 or 4 iron anymore, then look to replace that club. Go speak to your PGA professional. He will give you some great advice, and he might be able to put something in that bag that will help you ultimately become a better player. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Remember to like the video, subscribe to the video, and comment below. All comments are answered. Thanks for watching.